Mam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 24, text number 62. Yasmin Sat Karna Piyushe Piyushe Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe Yashastirtha Vare Sakrit Yashastirtha Vare Sakrit Shrotranjalir Upasprisya Shrotranjalis Upasprisya Dhunute Karma Vasanam Dhunute Karma Vasanam Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe. I'm pronouncing wrongly. It's Piyushe. Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe Yashastirthavare Sakrad Shrotranjalir Upasprisya Dhunute Karma Vasanam. Yasmin Satkarma Piyushe Yashastirthavare Sakrad. Yasmin, in the history of the transcendental activities of Krishna upon the surface of the earth, Satkarna Piyushe, who pleases the demands of the transcendental purified ears, Yasha Tirthavare, keeping oneself in the best of holy places by hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord, Sakrit, once only, immediately, Shrotra Anjalihi, in the form of hearing the transcendental message, Upasprisya, touching, exactly like the water of the Ganges. Dhunute, destroys, Karma Vasanam, the strong desire for fruitive activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Simply by receiving the glories of the Lord through purified transcendental ears, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. Please repeat this translation. Simply by receiving the glories of the Lord through purified transcendental ears, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. When the devotees orally receive the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as enacted in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they immediately achieve a transcendental vision in which they are no longer interested in materialistic activities. Thus, they achieve freedom from the material world. For sense gratification, practically everyone is engaged in materialistic activities which prolong the process of janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, birth, death, old age, and disease. But the devotee, simply by hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and further relishing the narrations of Srimad Bhagavatam, becomes so pure that he no longer takes interest in materialistic activities. At the moment, devotees in the Western countries are being attracted by Krishna consciousness and becoming uninterested in materialistic activities. And therefore, people are trying to oppose this movement. But they cannot possibly check this movement or stop the activities of devotees in Europe and America by their artificial impositions. Here, the words Shrotranjalir Upasprishya indicate that simply by hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord, the devotees become so pure that they are immediately immune to the contamination of materialistic fruitive activities. Anyabhilashita shunyam. Materialistic activities are unnecessary for the soul, and therefore the devotees are freed from such activities. The devotees are situated in liberation, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, and therefore they cannot be called back to their material homes and materialistic activities. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Shukadeva Goswami is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. He has described that Krishna has appeared in the Yadu dynasty, and he has come with a particular mission. And the devotees and the people in general who were present when Krishna appeared, they took benefit. They got all the benefits. But what about us? We can hear that Krishna appeared in the past. But here, Shukadeva Goswami is revealing a secret. Just as Parikshit Maharaj is sitting and hearing, even though Parikshit was fortunate to see Krishna when he was in his mother's womb, his life was in danger and Krishna protected him. But after he came out of his mother's womb, he was searching for Krishna. Where is that personality whom I saw when I was in my mother's womb? Most attractive, most beautiful, Most wonderful personality. So he was always examining every person he was seeing. Therefore, he is called Parikshit, the examiner. See, in Sanskrit, every name has got a meaning. So he was examining and examining and examining every person he would see. Is this a person whom I saw when I was in my mother's womb? Of course, he did not see Krishna in the sense that Krishna had already gone back to his personal abode. Krishna Svadhamo Pagate. But Parikshit was trained up in devotional service. So he was executing devotional service to Krishna very nicely. And he grew up as a devotee. And when the time came for the Pandavas to retire from their duties, kingly duties, royal duties, then they handed over charge of ruling the entire world to Parikshit. And he was already trained, so he took charge and he began to rule exactly according to the principles given by Krishna, how a king should rule this world in accordance with the scriptural injunctions in order to help people understand the goal of life and achieve that. But Krishna also wanted the Srimad Bhagavatam to be spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. Krishna wanted Parikshit to hear after making relevant inquiries. So Krishna arranged that, and in a mystical way, that Parikshit was cursed to die within 7 days. And immediately he handed over charge of ruling the kingdom to his son, Janamejaya. And he himself retired to a holy place on the bank of the Yamuna, near his capital city, Hastinapura. That place is even now there, where Parikshit sat and heard the Srimad Bhagavatam. What's it called? No, Naimisharanya is where the sages heard Suta Goswami. That's yet another place. That's yet another place where Bhagavatam was spoken. That's near Ayodhya. This place is called Shukatal. It's on the way from Delhi to Haridwar. When you go from Delhi to Haridwar by road, on the way there is a small deviation, a diversion. So there this place is even now preserved. And that is where he had actually, Parikshit had actually gone, dedicate himself for doing those activities which are required for preparing for quitting the body. Of course, Parikshit, to prepare for his, I should take the instructions and advice of saintly preparing for quitting the body. Of course, Parikshit, to prepare, I should take the instructions and advice of saintly persons and follow their instructions. So there. But because Parikshit Maharaj inquired from them, what should I do? There was discussion among them, and the discussion was not conclusive. That 7 days is very short time for someone to prepare themselves to quit the body in full Krishna consciousness. Krishna describes this, how one should prepare. By remembering me, by thinking of me, especially at the time of death. Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam. So you attain me or you attain my nature, or you attain my abode, personal abode, or you attain my lotus feet, shelter of my lotus feet. If you quit the body, remembering me alone, Mam Eva Smaran, you remember me alone. So for that, one has to practice. Actually, Parikshit has already done all the practice. But still, since he was inquiring and the saintly persons were thinking that 7 days is very little time, Krishna arranged that Shukadeva Goswami reached that spot just when the saintly persons were discussing what should we advise this Parikshit Maharaj. He entered that assembly and he gave the solution to the answer to Parikshit's question. What should Parikshit do? Simply sit and hear Krishna Katha, the Bhagavatam. Shukadeva Goswami speaking Bhagavatam. Vyasadeva has made that available for us also by putting that Srimad Bhagavatam in writing. What Vyasadeva wrote, we have accepted this body because of our misconception that I want to enjoy materially, I want material happiness, I want material gain. But if that misconception is cleared away, then you no longer are interested in this material body because you don't want material gain. You know that material happiness is useless for the real me, for the soul. Soul wants spiritual happiness. Soul wants spiritual benefit, spiritual gain. And that is available through pure devotional service. So, our desires change accordingly, our activities change, and then the aspirations change, everything changes from material to spiritual. This change can be brought about very quickly by the process of pure devotional service. The other processes bring about a very, very slow and gradual change. How slow? It may take millions of lifetimes. Millions of lifetimes. Whereas the Bhagavata process, how much time did Parikshit Maharaj have? 7 days time. So Bhagavatam gives the example of Parikshit Maharaj achieving perfection in 7 days. Now Shukadeva Goswami is revealing another secret. Actually, you don't even require 7 days. He assures Parikshit Maharaj before he begins to speak the Bhagavatam, 1 moment is enough. And he gives evidence. There was one king, Khatvanga Maharaj. He had only 1 moment of time left before facing death. When he came to know he's going to die within 1 moment. And then he had already practiced Krishna consciousness. He completely gave up all other engagements and fixed his consciousness, attention, his mind on Krishna in devotional service, which he had practiced already. And in 1 moment, he achieved perfection of going back to Godhead. So, Shukadeva Goswami says, 1 moment is enough. If you follow the process of pure devotional service. So to come to the stage of perfection of this practice of pure devotional service, also there is a accelerated process. That accelerated process is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chanting and hearing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And supplementing this chanting and hearing Hare Krishna Mahamantra with chanting and hearing about Krishna. engaging in activities connected with worshipping Krishna, glorifying Krishna, spreading the message of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. Like that. So, this process taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu primarily centered around chanting and hearing the Hare Krishna mantra is a quick process to begin devotional service and quickly come to the stage of perfecting our devotional service. And in that stage of perfection, one moment is enough to actually liberate yourself. So our acharyas, Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasagira nikhila swapi avasthasu. If you engage in this sadhana bhakti, Rupa Goswami himself has given the process sadhana bhakti, the nectar of devotion. If you engage in that process and come to the stage of, in this very life, in this very body, karmana manasa gira, all your activities, your thoughts, your mind, and your words, your thinking, speaking, and working, all the three, if you are able to engage in activities of sadhana bhakti, devotional activities, then whatever be your previous conditioning, material conditioning, it doesn't matter. You are immediately liberated. Jivan mukta sauchate. Jivan mukta. Mukta means a person who is liberated. Jivan mukta means liberated even while living within this body before death comes. Generally, liberation means, it is understood, when I quit this body, I'll be liberated. I don't have to enter another body. Because presently I am in one material body. I've already accepted this material body, and I have to live in this body for a certain duration of time called Ayu, lifespan. So, the general process of liberation, other than this pure devotional service, is that one has to practice and gradually purify the consciousness and prepare oneself for death. And when death comes, if one is fully purified by the time death comes, whichever lifetime that is going to happen, whenever it is going to happen, it's going to take a long time. That's the understanding in all of the processes. Then the person will be liberated. And person has to patiently wait for that time, however long it is going to take. Whereas in bhakti, it is not that you have to wait for death. You don't have to wait for death. You simply have to practice by fully applying yourself in this process of sadhana bhakti under the expert guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And therefore, Prabhupada says in the purport, at the moment, devotees in the Western countries are being attracted by Krishna consciousness, and as a result of this, they are becoming uninterested in materialistic activities. The process taught by Prabhupada, which is explained by Srila Rupa Goswami, as instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this process of Krishna consciousness is so very powerful and effective that even Westerners who were very materialistic before coming in contact with Krishna consciousness, those Westerners, they became attracted, they applied themselves, to Krishna consciousness, and they became disinterested in all material activities. So same thing can be applicable for anyone. So therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is simply meant to end this materialistic way of life and take to Krishna consciousness and perfect oneself even before death comes. In one moment. If you perfect yourself in one moment, it's enough. You don't have to wait for death. So that is what Shukadeva Goswami is glorifying about the glories described by himself in this Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll stop here. Rantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.